Welcome again to another LinkedIn Live. As usual, I'm just going to go through my quick intro while we make sure everybody's got a chance to join. I know we've got some regular attendees, so I try to make it a little bit different. So I started the Academy of Pharmaceutical Excellence. How long ago now? I think it was September 24. And really, the majority of the offers, the services provided have been custom. But I want to support a wider audience, which is why I've started doing some LinkedIn Lives, but I'm also going to be launching, in the process of launching some new courses. So the ones we've got on the website at the moment, academypharmaceuticalexcellence.com, without the of in the middle. We've had some interest. We've had a few people that have joined. But I've decided to change I've combined a few of them, and we're adding some new topics. The more up-to-date ones, I suppose. So one of the ones that I think that I've been requested about the most is AI. So that one's taking me a bit longer than usual to produce, because I'm doing the research first and making sure that actually what I offer is relevant now, because AI is moving along really fast. But of course, a lot of people are still at the basic level. So there's going to be, at the moment, 3 different courses. One of them for absolute beginners that know nothing at all. Then somebody for applying it, and then another one for just those that want to, I suppose, be involved and understand it, but don't really want to do a lot with it. I suppose it's probably the best way. I probably should have put them in a different order. Anyway, hopefully you've all joined in now. If you do have any comments or questions, please do leave them at the time. And I've realized that, I don't know why, but they don't pop up when I'm doing the talk most of the time. So I think they take a bit of time to get through to me for some reason. So I will answer them, but I'll answer them afterwards rather than on the stream, which is what I used to do, but I don't know why it doesn't seem to work the way it used to do. So today we're talking about quality culture. Quality culture for me is an interesting one. I suppose really because I see such variety. Quality to me is everyone's responsibility. Now, many companies that I join, I do see before I start helping them that quality really is focused on the person that's on the license. So, for example, the RP is often the one that writes the SOPs. But the problem I find with that is you don't necessarily get the nuances that the person that's in goods in would understand. Or you don't necessarily get the detail that they might go through when they're receiving the goods, or the preparation time's not quite right, or complaints is usually accurate, and the recalls, because that really is primarily the RP role. But sometimes I find that the commercial side of it's a bit scant. It's not really enough detail to actually do any good. So I do recommend always that people get everybody involved. Don't just use the person that's on the license. And I did join a company, my first head of quality role it was, but I didn't join as head of quality. I took it on. And the person that was in charge surprised me, because they'd written the quality management system. It wasn't called pharmaceutical quality system at the time. I don't think it was still when it used to be known as the QMS, same as medical devices. That's a different story, I suppose. But they'd written the procedures and the forms and everything for the regulator. They weren't being used. The people that were actually out on the shop floor, the people in the warehouse, the people in manufacturing, they didn't know anything about the SOPs. They were just used to keep the license. That's not the way you do it now. It definitely doesn't work. So what's the biggest myth in pharma? Well, I just mentioned it. Pharmaceutical industry is that quality belongs to the QA department or the quality department or the QC or whatever you want to call it. Quality assurance, quality. There's many different names. And personally, I think that's what causes the problem. Because people assume that the role lives within the department. And I think that's because, say goods in. Well, they deal with goods in, don't they? So why wouldn't quality deal with quality? Operations deals with operations, production deals with production. But the problem is quality assurance, not QA, not the QA department, quality assurance has to be ubiquitous. It has to be throughout the whole of the company. And that's why you'll often find that a company where quality does live just with the quality assurance get a lot of quality, of observations when they're going through an inspection. It's because the behaviors, the decisions, the habits of people across the entire organization are not aligned with the SOPs. So they're not aligned with what QA has written because QA didn't understand it. They just went by what it says in the regulations. Every employee, whether it's senior, whether it's somebody on the shop floor, influences product quality and ultimately patient safety. Now, one that I take notice of that often people don't really pay much attention to is cleaning. Now, if you want to minimize the amount of mold within your department, who's going to do it for you? Well, it's going to be the cleaner. And I've seen many companies where molds got out of control because they've not paid enough attention to the way it's being cleaned. They think, well, the cleaner's doing the job, so everything must be fine. But then when you go and look, you realize that they're cleaning with detergent. Well, how much of a sanitization effect has detergent got? Most of the time, none, because there's no sanitization agent included. It's just there to take off the ground before you add the sanitizer. But organizations that embed quality into the culture, right from the cleaner, through the shop floor, up through the supervisors, to the managers, to the middle management, to the directors, right up to the board, it's going to get a better compliance. It's going to make sure that they've got the right amount of resource allocated to ensuring that you meet the regulatory requirements. Now, I'm intentionally not using the word quality because it's not quality's requirements. It's the legal requirements that you want to meet. The question isn't whether QA is doing the job. It's whether everyone is doing the job to make sure that the quality outcomes, the right product, the right place, the right time, the right strength, that it's actually going to do the job, that it's not going to harm the patient. It's everyone's responsibility. Strong cultures outperform compliance-driven ones every single time. I remember when I first started, quality wasn't just the role of the quality team. Everybody understood what was needed. And that's because to me, the head of quality and regulatory was present, was making himself known, was communicating with everybody else. So what is a quality culture? Well, it's the attitude, it's the beliefs, it's the way that everybody works together. And really, it's the values that you hold. Patient-centered is really, really important. Decision-making, patient-centered decision-making. Well, if you're going to do something today, if you're going to, I don't know, if somebody wants to take a shortcut, they want to speed up a machine because they want to get a bit longer break. But then you think about it and you think, well, what's that going to do? What impact is that going to have on the finished product? And if it's going to reduce the seal integrity or the strength of the seals, and then they're going to leak post-sterilization, well, you're impacting the patient. So you don't do that speeding up. You have to have shared beliefs about what matters and why. To do that, though, you need an understanding. And often I find that people just get told what the procedure says. What really matters is how are you going to behave under pressure What happens when there's a time constraint or conflicting priority? Are you still going to do it right? It's really the difference between just following the rules because you've got to, but actually doing it because you know it's the right thing to do and that you believe it's right. It's having a commitment rather than just, this is what we've got to do because that's what it says. And having a good foundation of GMP, good manufacturing practice, understanding really what good manufacturing practice is and why we do it. That way you're going to get sustainable, long-term regulatory compliance. But if you don't understand, what chance have you got? Now, I'm working on a course on GMP, but I'm not going to be able to fit it into a half-hour live. It's about 150 pages, I think it is. So I'm going to offer it as a course for people to join through the academy. I haven't put it up there yet because it's not ready. It's a few more bits to make, just a bit more putting it right. But I'll be offering one soon. Regulatories care about culture because they understand it's not just about what you do while they're there watching. It's about how the leaders behave. They're the ones that are going to make sure their daily actions, decisions, when the regulator's gone, to make sure that the staff understand what's really needed. They understand that employee engagement makes a big difference. If the staff feel empowered and understand what quality is about, what the right product to their patient, what patient safety is about, how they feel empowered to make sure they've got a safe product going out, and that they can raise concerns when there's an issue, that's when you know you've got a good quality culture, and that the decision-making process is actually going to result in a product that's good, that's high quality, that's the right quality, the right safety, the right efficacy when it gets to the patient. You have to understand that the regulators have strengthened their focus on culture to minimize risk. They recognize the robust technical systems that can go wrong, especially when behaviors are not aligned. I've seen people look at when they want to get things out quickly and it all goes wrong. Documentation is not complete the way that it is complete. Something wasn't there. They didn't prepare for it properly. Compliance failures often, including data integrity, repeat deviations, product recalls, are often relatable directly back to culture. Not necessarily adequate procedures, but a culture maybe of not even following the procedures, or, oh yeah, you can just skip that bit today. Strong systems can fail if the behaviors driving the compliance with them or following them isn't there. Oh yeah, that one's not quite right. We'll just do it this way today. No, fix your SOP, put it right. Don't just say it's not appropriate, so we'll skip it. The consequences of a weak quality culture go beyond what happens during the inspection. They can accumulate over time. You lose trust, you lose capability, and of course, ultimately patient safety. And then you get the complaints coming in. You get repeat deviations and the CAPAs don't work. Especially that one, you know what it is? I bet you do. Training. The operator did it wrong. Well, when it's the 12th time that the operator did it wrong, there's something else underlying that. Data integrity. When the pressure overrides integrity, really results can result to falsification, manipulation, and that becomes a systemic risk, which is likely to get you taken off the market. Departmental silos are a big problem. I don't think they're as obvious as they used to be. Cross-functional communication leads to misaligned priorities and missed indicators, quality indicators that are showing there's something going wrong. And then I already mentioned product recalls. Product recall is always going to result in reputational damage, disruption to your supply chain, and critically, you really want to think about the risk to the patient that depends on the medicines. You probably heard about the 84 kids that died in Africa. You don't want that. What happens when your company has killed somebody? What if they kill 100? What if it's 500 before you find out the problem? What's going to happen to your company after that? More importantly, how are you going to feel? If you're the one that let it out, the one that let it go through, the one that did the risk assessment that didn't take into account all the risks of that supplier, how are you going to feel when you get that complaint back saying, all these people died? What would be even worse? If then you go back and you see, oh, I knew that person. But what if it's an aging person? What if it's an aging population and you realize that you've actually been involved in the incorrect supply of a product that went to one of your family? And you didn't even realize until after that they'd already taken it. How would you feel then? That's what quality is about. It's about putting the right product on the market. Production operators make real-time decisions that directly determine product quality throughout the process. You press that override button. You put that pack on the line because you're getting pressure not to reject. You've got to get your efficiency up. But you still have to do it right. QA is not going to be there all the time. The scale and complexity of pharmaceutical operations makes oversight everybody's job. Everyone contributes to the final outcome. Engineering, warehouse, procurement, every function touches the quality of the product every single day. Everyone has to understand what's needed, and they have to make sure that they follow the systems. And when the system's not right, change it. There's no reason why you can't change it. I always think if it's not right, well, I'll change the rules. But if the rules are right, follow them. What does quality ownership look like in practice? Well, operators stop the process when it's not right, when something's going wrong, when they can see something's not going right, that the product quality is a problem. Engineers think about the GMP impact during maintenance, but more importantly, not only do they think about it, they actually know the impact. Warehouse staff understand product protection requirements and apply them. And then the leaders actively encourage transparency. They don't criticize when something goes wrong. They celebrate quality-oriented decisions, making it safe to raise concerns, but more importantly, to make sure the product going out the door is safe. The role of leadership in a quality culture is to promote integrity, accountability, openness. Culture starts at the top, but it can be killed from the top as well. Employees follow their behaviors more than they follow policies. But leaders who demonstrate integrity, accountability, openness, fairness each day set the standard, whether that might be good or bad. If they prioritize production targets over the quality assurance, the right quality, I don't like to use the word quality actually, the right standard that's going to cure the patient over hitting the numbers. You have to remember, whatever the leaders tolerate is going to be the organizational standard. That's what the quality impact is. That's what the cultural impact is. So let's have a look at some of the barriers. So, fear of reporting mistakes. If you get criticized every time you make a mistake, well, you're going to be blocked. You're not going to want to tell people. Psychological safety comes from a no blame policy. Investigations that look for a blame of a person rather than a root cause, it's always going to cause a problem. It's going to mean things get hidden. Production pressure overriding getting the product right, rather than having a patient-first decision-making framework, is going to mean that you get to the end of the process, but you don't necessarily have a product that can go out. Bureaucracy too much bureaucracy. I do often see that actually coming from the quality team. You want something that's streamlined, fit for purpose, and processes that actually work for the business, not just the regulations. And then, of course, we have the silos. Poor cross-departmental communication. You want to work together. I know we've put integrated quality forums, but they don't have to call them that. You can just call it a management review. And then leadership saying one thing but doing something else. You want real, visible leadership doing what they say they're going to do. To identify the barriers is the first step. Then you have to address them, commit to them, make structural changes, and implement recognition programs that reward quality-first behaviors is a good approach. But there are many others. Maybe a patient-centric focus. Maybe the right product to the right place at the right time. It doesn't have to be called quality. And actually, I would encourage it to be called something else. You want to build a culture that's positive. Building a strong quality culture where you start with awareness, engagement, ownership, and of course, sustainability. There's no point doing it once and expecting it to last. You have to develop awareness, encourage open reporting, celebrate things when they made the right decision, even if it is a hold. One that I do like is if you find a problem at the beginning. Say you're going to be manufacturing today and somebody's gone to the warehouse and they've realized that it's the wrong grade. Maybe it's just an excipient. But the wrong grade of excipient can mean that the finished product at the other end of the process in, I don't know, a week's time, 2 weeks' time. If it's an API, it could be 3 years' time. But you realize that that grade that you've got in stock is the wrong one because it's ready for a different product. And it's been allocated by the computer because the right one wasn't available. If you make patient impact visible in everyday communications and actually ensure that the people that are doing the job understand why it's got to be right and the impact of doing it wrong, you can embed continuous learning. And you can actually save the company money because you stop that manufacture until you've got the right material in tomorrow. And then it goes out the door in 2 weeks' time. Instead of rushing to start it today, because that's what the plan says. And then in 2 weeks' time, having to regrade it, reprocess it, or even, what's worst, throw it in the bin, along with that really expensive API that shouldn't have gone in with that cheap bit of sugar in the first place. Because actually it should have been lactose, or vice versa. Everyday decisions impact the patient. Remember, quality is everybody's responsibility, not a department. It's not a procedure. It's not an audit outcome. It's all those tiny decisions that everybody makes. Yeah, we're going to move this one to here. Yeah, we're going to stop the machine because it's going to destroy that pack. Yeah, we're going to reprocess that product because when we made it, we didn't do it right. Culture is what determines whether the tools are used with integrity and not just used to justify sending the product out. Passing an inspection is a lagging indicator. Culture is what drives behaviors that create consistently safe products that treat the patient, producing a positive outcome, not making them ill. Okay, thank you for joining me today. I hope you found it useful. Please do contact me if you've got any questions about quality culture or culture in general, I suppose. Info at Academy Pharmaceutical Excellence, you can see on the screen. We have the website there. And as I mentioned, we will be doing some updates and additional courses. I've just got to review the final version. And there's LinkedIn. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do connect with me on LinkedIn. And vice versa, if you're watching this on LinkedIn. I'd invite you to come and watch some of my videos on YouTube. There's, I don't know how many I've added. Maybe it's 90 now. I think I've added 10 recently. But But then I've been putting Anetta's on there as well. One of my team, Anetta's been doing some as well, not just me. Maybe a person 100. It should be soon. So I do hope you like the content that I'm sharing, that we're sharing. Then I hope you join us tomorrow. Oh, actually, no, I don't think. I think it's next week now. Yeah, for the next live. I know LinkedIn notifies you if you press that little bell at the top right. I think it is on my profile. I don't know how you get notified of the YouTube ones, actually. I'm sure there is a way. I'll have to find out. Okay, thank you for joining me. I hope you found it useful. Please do comment if you haven't already, including if you watch the recording rather than the live session. And you're welcome to send me a message direct. I do accept everybody that's within the pharmaceutical industry. If you're outside, well, you're going to have to give me a good reason. Talk to you soon. Hope to see you soon even. It's Paul Pharma.